Germany election speculation. Because, we're not so sure whether we could stem a universal basic income. White man, why are you saying this? I'm so bored by the conversation. Then I rather leave the human-to-human interaction, I'm sorry, rather than to educate you about how silly it is to say we cannot stem a universal basic income. So Germany election speculation, and up to you to determine how interesting Germany's elections are. How none of them will win. We start with the funniest one, which is the Christian Democratic Union. In case you need a reminder, feminist Christianity has been governing on the federal level, has been governing Germany for the past 16 years. And the first thing they state, they campaign on, what they want to be remembered for is a strong euro. Okay, a bit plump, because apparently no begging or crying will change the oppressor's mind. And I'm not sure whether they need a couple of economic classes to understand how high up politics the value of one's currency is and how closely it's connected to famine, and war. And we've read the Marx and the keys to keep labor costs low and raw material costs low. We call it a strong euro. It's monetary policy, which determines that we profit off of war. But that's what the Christian Democratic Union wants to be remembered for, right? It has been governing Germany for 16 years. What they want is a strong euro. Okay. And we're too lazy to call it anything else but pure stagnation. And we kind of think it's funny to be a politician governing a white country with a horrible history and think, haha, well, at least I'm having fun, and don't complain. You have free education and full supermarkets. Okay. So, we have a climate emergency. We're worried about fresh water, right? That's a thing. At least that's a thing I hear politicians talk about. Living room, food supply chains, and the quality of air we're breathing, which determines all life on a cellular level. Okay, but we have a climate emergency. There's more people seeking refuge in the world right now than at any time before, even before World War II broke out. Worldwide, 1 billion people do not have access to fresh water, and 700 million people are undernourished. And we live on a planet that has not seen peace. There's like 5 million people without a job in Germany. Not a human rights catastrophe, but still. We haven't reformed our social security / unemployment benefit in over a decade, and minimum wage is below 10 euros. And the Christian Democratic Union says the first thing they campaign on is a strong euro. Okay, so we hope, I think that's what's going on in their mind, we hope that the education system is so faded out that no one understands, the results of the moral implications of the value of one's currency anymore anyway. But, we accept human rights abuses on the worldwide, while we live on a planet that has not seen peace. And we risk chances of future war. And we say we want a strong euro. Not exactly entertaining after a while anymore, but okay. I get it. So if you would want system change, and I think why wouldn't you? You should, including equality between the sexes, you should be for universal basic income, and you should want it today. And the connecting factor being the jurisdiction on which you're on. You live in Germany, you qualify for it. And we kind of have to get over jealousy and our laziness. Someone even lazier than you will get the money too. Someone even lazier than you will have the chance to break free from her relationship. Someone even someone will be able to move out from their miserable family. Yeah. It costs less CO2 to give people money than to industrial all of the world and say, well, now we've gotten our first step towards sustainability, we eliminated poverty. So if you vote for the CDU, which simultaneously campaigns on higher quality education and a strong euro, and you can't see that contradiction, don't run for office. And I'm so sorry to tell the developing countries that we have all the wealth, but we ain't the same yet either. We follow the herd. And that hopefully kindness and sanity will prevail. So SPD, on top of that, in the whole election program of the Christian Democratic Union, the CDU, we find nothing about evacuating all people held in an open-air prison on Greek borders. And where would they put it in their election program? They're in power now. They would want to change something about situations that act now. And they ain't acting. So SPD, the Social Democrats, in the election program, we find the will to fight for more child money, higher taxes, more money for the care industry. It doesn't put a number next to any of these things, but more money into people's hands, I'm all for it. Wouldn't have to do with the universal basic income, but all for it. It's all domestic policy and it's low ambition, but I'm all for it. Great, if you get it passed. There's nothing about prohibiting all weapon export, so they're not in the camp of world peace. They're not in the camp of world peace either. So I don't know, man. You're neutral to military aggression. You piece of shit. And nothing about poverty elimination. So the one tool needed to address poverty elimination, UBI, is not mentioned. So, and nothing about addressing our central banking system and monetary policy. So again, stagnation, no change. Bit plump, we are okay with the status quo. Yeah, so FDP, and in the whole election program, nothing about eliminating poverty, nor world peace. Clearly not good enough for a country like Germany. So out. I guess it's amusing to be a politician for the FDP in a white industrialized country, but out, and under free trade they say that we've got used to our pasta from Italy, our blue jeans from the US, and our smartphones from China and Korea. Okay, you're embarrassing, you're out. So the Greens, Germany's Die Grüne, safe to say that the day too shall come where they profit of their clever name. And I assume their lucky day will be coming fall. They're currently polling around 20%. But reread your own election program. It is brainwashed, export-orientated neo-Marxist capitalism. There's no point about poverty elimination, neither as a domestic policy nor as a foreign policy. There's no point about prohibiting all weapon export. So again, not in the camp of world peace either, and they do not run on the universal basic income. The word Grundeinkommen, universal basic income, appears in the election program twice. On top of that, they don't put a plan out as to how to hold up human rights standards and to evacuate people from the EU's borders and open air prisons. And they're not for the legalization of marijuana. They're not green, you're not progressive. So Germany's left. Germany's biggest semi-anti-capitalistic political party, yet hasn't governed on the federal level since its creation. I wonder whether something's being handled massively wrongly. And I'll start with the criticism because it deserves to be criticized, How are you not in power? Why do you not run on a universal basic income? None of German political parties runs on a universal basic income. And if you have a better policy idea, then go ahead. But you choose to not run on a universal basic income. You would be the only political party to have done so. And you chose not to. So you were cowardish. And there's no logic explaining or justifying the decision. And yet, you run on the most just and fair election program of them all. Simply because you are for prohibiting all weapon export coming from Germany. Hasn't accepted assent in corporate donations since its creation, and is the only political party to have never accepted assent in corporate donations. So, and last time I checked, we're for money out of politics, right? But it's unbearably stupid to hold so much power and to not run on the best policy, because you could win with the universal basic income. And last time I checked, aim of the election is to win. And last time I checked, 53% of the German population is fond of a universal basic income, especially caused through the pandemic. It makes sense, it's logical to people. It's less CO2 intense than industrializing all of the world. It will ruin our climate. You can win with the best policy with the universal basic income and still not compromise on your 1.5 degree plan and to get Germany carbon neutral by 2035. By cutting subsidies and instead giving money to people. They cheat with their maths. They take square root out of -1. Why do we act so stupidly? Why is there no moral responsibility on the shoulders of politicians? Why do they act so dumb? I thought there's a certain pay class in which you learn and how to cooperate, and clearly it doesn't happen in politics. They don't want to win, they want to lose. And it makes me wonder whether that's a strategy. Do you rather continue with your petty opposition work than win with the best policy? Anything is possible, anything you can fake. So stop it. Central banks have been creating money out of nothing for 100 years now. Our educational system doesn't mention it, as if this would be the best guarded secret of capitalism. Play fool with someone else, and a bit shame on you. But because, legally speaking, and not to make myself this ignorant lawyer out of the two of us, but legally speaking, Germany shall not be free of responsibility, not for 1,000 years. And legally speaking, anyone responsible for war, including the providence of weaponry, shall bear responsibility for all of it. So legally speaking, we have a war criminal up there. And, you know, if she would run for a fifth term, roughly 50% of the German population would be, yeah, I'd vote for her again. It's also because we don't communicate enough. And yet approval rating is about 50% of Angela Merkel. And I understand the feeling of wanting to be liked by someone in more power. I understand the feeling of wanting to be liked by someone who has more power than you. But you have to let go. That's stupid. But if Die Linke, you know, Germany's biggest semi-anti-capitalistic party, does not run on a universal basic income, and you can still change the election program. There's 2 months until there will be a vote. Means you do not believe in dismantling the system in which we profit off of war. And there's only elections every 4 years, so now is the chance, right? And you do not believe in dismantling the system in which we profit off of war through grassroots power. And what gives people power? Money. You know, you could win with the best policy, you could win with the universal basic income, and still not compromise on a 1.5 degree plan to get Germany carbon neutral by 2035. You know, it's social justice, that would be democracy, it's Vermögenverteilung.